A girl bullied for the color of her skin, ignored by teachers, and pushed aside by classmates who believed she did not belong. What they never knew was that her single father was one of the highest ranked army generals in the country. And when the truth finally came out, the entire school learned a lesson they would never forget. Lena Carter woke up before sunrise as she did every school day. She stood at the small mirror in her room and tied her hair back. Her father always said the same thing every morning. Stand tall, speak clear, know who you are. She never argued with him. He had earned every word of respect. He was an army general who had spent half his life moving from country to country, but at home he was simply Dad. Their house sat on a quiet street in Raleigh, North Carolina. It was not a mansion. It was not perfect. But it was filled with books, medals, framed certificates, and photos from her father's service. Lena never talked about any of that at school. She never felt the need to. She wanted friends because of who she was, not because of her father's rank or money. As she walked to the kitchen, her father was already dressed in uniform, finishing his coffee. He smiled when he saw her. Ready for the day? She nodded. As ready as I can be. He placed an apple and her lunch in her backpack. Remember what I told you. People talk. People assume things. But the truth stays the truth, no matter who believes it. She gave a small smile. She wished other kids understood that, too. The ride to school was short. As soon as the car stopped at the entrance, Lena felt her stomach twist. She looked at the tall brick building and the crowd of students standing near the doors. Some were laughing, some were staring at their phones, and some were already watching her. She wished she could walk through a side door unnoticed, but everyone always saw her. She stepped out of the car. Her father called out, "Have a good day." She waved back, but she could already hear the whispers forming around her. Two girls near the stairs looked at her clothes and smirked. One said loud enough for anyone nearby to hear, "I guess she only owns like 3 shirts." The other added, "What else do you expect? She thinks she belongs here, but she does not." Lena walked past them without looking up. The comments hurt, but she had learned to hide it behind silence. She kept walking. Her backpack felt heavier with every step. Inside the hallway, the noise grew louder. Students moved from locker to locker. Some greeted friends with bright smiles. Some moved quickly. And then there were the ones who slowed down whenever she walked by, as if her presence interrupted their perfect world. At her locker, she found a sticky note. It said, "Go back where you came from." The handwriting was sloppy. The message was clear. Lena took a deep breath, pulled it off, and put her books away. She did not cry. She refused to give them the satisfaction. When the first bell rang, she walked to her homeroom class. The teacher, Ms. Hobbs, stood at the door with her attendance sheet. She always gave Lena the same tight smile. It was the smile that pretended to be polite but carried judgment underneath. "Good morning, Ms. Hobbs," Lena said. "Morning. Take your seat." The answer came quickly, already distracted. Lena sat in the second row. The room slowly filled up. Students took their seats in groups, leaving empty chairs around her. It happened every day. It was not random. It was not accidental. It was a choice. As the teacher began the morning announcements, Lena stared at her notebook. She tried to focus on the words being spoken, but her thoughts drifted. Why did everyone assume she was poor? Why did they treat her like she did not belong? They saw her skin and created a story about her, a story that was completely wrong. She lost her focus when 2 boys behind her whispered loudly, "I heard she gets free lunches." The other replied, "Probably. Her family probably cannot afford the fees." Lena quietly shook her head. They were wrong. They were always wrong. Her father donated more money to this school every year than most of their families ever would, but she could not tell them that. Telling them made her feel like she needed to prove her worth, and she did not want to prove anything. She only wanted a normal day, a day where she was not a target, a day where she could just exist without being judged. When the announcements ended, Ms. Hobbs gave instructions for a short assignment. Students began writing. Lena tried to follow, but her mind kept returning to one thought. Today felt different. The insults were sharper. The stares were harder. Something was shifting. She could feel it. And she had no idea that this day was going to change everything. The second class of the day was English literature. Normally, it was one of Lena's favorite subjects. She loved stories. She loved imagination. She loved characters who overcame hardship. She loved seeing heroes rise from places no one believed they could rise from. But in this room, she rarely felt like the hero of anything. The classroom was arranged in perfect rows. The sunlight through the windows made the air look dustier than usual. On the whiteboard, the topic for the day was written in big letters: character values and social perception. It was exactly the kind of lesson that made Lena wish she could disappear. Before class officially started, Lena took the seat near the wall. She always sat there. It made her feel like she had some kind of shield. Fewer eyes on her, fewer whispers directly in her ear. She placed her notebook on the desk and tried to calm her breathing. Every classroom had its battlefield. This one had its soldiers, too. As expected, 3 boys came in laughing. They were the type who believed their presence alone could decide who mattered and who did not. One of them, Tyler, spotted Lena immediately. His grin widened. He sat 2 rows behind her. Loud enough for everyone to hear, he said, "Make sure the window is open. We do not want the room to smell broke." Small laughter erupted around him. They always laughed. Not because the jokes were funny, but because the person being targeted was Lena. It was the easiest. Entertainment in the room. The teacher, Mrs. Delano, entered with a pile of worksheets. She was kind and often tried to maintain control, but even she never addressed how students treated Lena. She wanted to avoid conflict. That was her weakness. Class began. The teacher explained the lesson. How people are often misjudged when others look at them only from the outside. Lena listened carefully. Every word of the lesson applied to her life. The irony hit her harder than she expected. Mrs. Delano said, "Today we will examine how a character is perceived by others versus who they truly are." Students nodded. Pens moved. Discussions sparked. But as the teacher called on students to share, Lena noticed a pattern. No one mentioned her. No one looked at her. No one acknowledged she existed, even though the entire lesson mirrored what she faced daily. Halfway through class, the teacher handed out an assignment. Each student had to write a paragraph about someone being misunderstood. When the teacher passed Lena's desk, she paused. She looked down at Lena with a small smile. "I expect something honest from you. You write with a lot of depth." Lena nodded politely, but her stomach tightened. She did not like when attention was placed on her. Even positive attention could turn into a target. The room became quiet as everyone began writing. Lena wrote slowly. She tried to choose a fictional character, but her mind kept going back to her own reality. She wrote about a girl who was judged for her skin, a girl misunderstood, a girl blamed, a girl who never fought back even when she should. As she wrote the final sentence, she felt someone watching her. She looked to her left and saw a girl named Brianna staring at her notebook. Brianna quickly looked away, then leaned toward another girl and whispered something. Both glanced at Lena and smirked. Lena lowered her pencil. The bell finally rang. Students jumped out of their seats. Some rushed out. Some gathered near the door. Lena calmly placed her notebook in her backpack. She waited for the hallway to clear a bit. But before she could leave, Tyler walked up beside her desk. He leaned in slightly. He spoke softly, but his words carried enough venom to cut through her chest. "Why do you even try? Everyone knows you do not belong here." Lena looked straight at him. Her voice was steady. "I am here because I worked hard, just like anyone else." Tyler laughed. "Yeah, sure. That is not what people say." Lena gripped her backpack straps. She wanted to walk away, but something held her still. A question formed in her mind. A question she never dared to ask. "What do people say?" Tyler shrugged. "Ask your teacher. Ask anyone. They know more about your life than you do." He walked away, leaving Lena frozen in place. She did not understand what he meant. Why would teachers talk about her? Why would students know anything real about her life? She never told anyone anything. She walked to the door slowly. Something heavy settled in her chest, a mix of confusion and fear. The third period was history class. Lena entered quietly and sat at the edge of the room. History usually held her attention, but today she struggled to think about anything except Tyler's words. "Ask your teacher. Ask anyone. They know more about your life than you do." Why would he say that? Why would anyone talk about her? What exactly did they think they knew? The teacher, Mr. Bowen, was a tall man with a thick beard and a deep voice. He respected discipline. He respected structure. But he did not always understand what students went through emotionally. As class began, he spoke about the civil rights movement. Lena listened. The lesson cut painfully close to her life. When Mr. Bowen asked the class a question, several hands shot up. Lena hesitated. She knew the answer. She always did. But if she raised her hand, she would draw attention. She stayed quiet. But Mr. Bowen surprised her. He pointed directly at her. Lena, tell us, what was the key purpose of the movement? The room grew silent. Eyes turned toward her. She felt heat rise in her chest. She answered slowly. Equal rights. Representation. The chance to live without judgment. Mr. Bowen nodded. Correct. But before he could continue, a boy in the back murmured. She would know. Her dad probably marched in it. Another boy snorted. No. Her family probably could not afford to. Lena felt her throat tighten. She looked down at her notebook. Her hands shook slightly, but she forced herself to continue writing as if nothing happened. She hated that she had become the easy target for every moment of unfiltered ignorance. When the bell rang, she was one of the first to leave. She rushed out of the classroom and walked down the hall, her pace fast and unsteady. She did not know where she wanted to go. She only knew where she did not want to be. Anywhere near people. She reached the main hallway where the front office was located. She planned to pass by, but as she got close, she heard her name. Lena Carter. She froze. Two adults were talking behind the half-open office door. Their voices were low, but the hallway was quiet enough that she could hear bits of the conversation. The first voice belonged to Ms. Hobbs, her homeroom teacher. The second voice belonged to the school counselor, Mrs. Reed. Lena stepped closer. Her heartbeat picked up. She was not trying to spy. But once she heard the tone in their voices, she could not walk away. Ms. Hobbs said, "The problem is simple. She does not fit in. She makes the other students uncomfortable." Mrs. Reed replied, "Students need to learn to be inclusive. We cannot blame her because of their attitude." Ms. Hobbs sighed. "I understand that. But think about the image of the school. Parents talk. They see her clothes. They see her background. They assume certain things. Whether it is true or not, it affects the school environment." Lena's stomach twisted. "What background? What do they think they know?" Mrs. Reed spoke more quietly. "I heard her father is always away. She is basically raising herself." Ms. Hobbs added, "And we all know the type of place she comes from. Some children simply come with more problems." Lena took a small step back. Her chest felt tight. Her eyes watered, but she forced herself to blink it away. Her father was not absent. He was serving the country. He was more present in her life than most parents she knew. She wanted to burst through the door and tell them they were wrong, but she stayed frozen, listening. Every word cut deeper. Then Mrs. Reed asked, "Does the principal know about her situation?" Ms. Hobbs replied, "Yes. They are considering moving her to a different class, maybe even a different program, something more suited for her level." Her level. The words hit her harder than any insult from a student ever had. Lena usually sat alone during lunch. She chose the table in the far corner near the windows because it made her feel slightly less exposed. But today she did not even make it, halfway across the cafeteria, before she noticed something strange. People were staring more than usual. It was not the quick glance people gave when someone walked by. These were longer, heavier looks. Looks filled with curiosity, judgment, and something else she could not name. She walked slower. The cafeteria buzzed with noise, but she could sense pockets of attention turning toward her, following her every step. She felt like someone had painted a giant target on her back. As she reached her usual table, she found something sitting on it, a small yellow envelope. Her name was written on the front. She looked around. No one approached. No one explained. A group of girls nearby whispered and giggled, but when Lena glanced toward them, they looked away. She slowly lifted the envelope and sat down. Her hands shook slightly as she opened it. Inside was a folded sheet of paper. She unfolded it carefully. The message was short. "We know why you are really here." Lena stared at the words. Her fingers tightened on the paper. Someone was playing a game with her, a cruel one. She looked around again, searching for the person who might be watching her. Then something unexpected happened. A boy she had never spoken to walked toward her table. His name was Ethan. He was quiet, kept to himself, and never laughed at the bullying. He stopped near her table, hesitated, then leaned down. You dropped this. He placed a small keychain on the table. It was not hers. He knew it was not hers. His voice lowered slightly. Do not turn around right away. People are watching. Her heart skipped. Why is this happening? Why is he involved? Ethan kept his voice low and steady. Someone planted that envelope. They wanted you to sit down and open it while everyone watched. Lena felt a jolt of fear run through her chest. Why? Ethan swallowed hard. Because someone has been spreading rumors about you for months. Not student rumors, adult ones. Lena blinked. What do you mean? Before he could answer, a loud voice echoed across the cafeteria. There she is. The cafeteria turned silent for a moment. Lena felt the air shift. She turned her head slowly. A group of girls from the advanced program walked toward her table. Led by Brianna, the girl who had stared at her paper earlier. Brianna crossed her arms. So, are you ready to admit it? Lena stood up. Admit what? That you do not deserve to be here. A few gasps rose from nearby tables. Brianna stepped closer. We know your father cannot afford this school. We know the principal let you in because he felt sorry for you. And we know your family gets special help. Lena felt the cafeteria closing in around her. Voices rising, whispers igniting flames of gossip. None of that is true, Lena said. Brianna smirked. Then prove it. Lena clenched her fists. She wanted to yell that her father was an army general. She wanted to yell that he donated more money to this school than anyone else. But she stayed silent. If she told them, it would look like bragging, and she hated that. Ethan stepped forward. Leave her alone. A few students laughed. Brianna turned to him. Stay out of this. Ethan held his ground. I am tired of watching everyone act like she owes you something. Brianna leaned closer to Lena and whispered loudly. Do you really think anyone here believes you belong in this school? Lena felt her face heat up. She stood still. Her heartbeat hammered in her ears. Then Brianna tapped the envelope in Lena's hand. We also know the real reason your father is away. People talk. Teachers talk. Maybe we will share it soon. Lena felt her blood run cold. She looked at Brianna closely. Brianna knew something she should not know. Something private. Something only adults would know. Lena could not focus in her next class. Every sound felt louder. Every stare felt sharper. Every whisper felt targeted. The envelope sat in her backpack, but she could still feel its heaviness like a stone pressed into her spine. Finally, during a break between classes, she made a decision. She walked straight to the principal's office. The hallway was mostly empty. The lights flickered slightly, adding to her growing anxiety. She hesitated at the office door for a moment, then pushed it open. The secretary looked up. Can I help you? I need to speak to the principal, Lena said. He is in a meeting at the moment. You can wait. Lena sat in one of the chairs in the corner. Her hands clenched the straps of her backpack. The minutes felt long. Too long. She was about to leave when she heard voices from inside the principal's office. The door was slightly open. A man spoke. It was the principal, Mr. Hayes. I understand the parents' concerns, but there is no confirmation of any of the claims. Claims? The word made Lena lean forward slightly. Another voice replied. A woman this time. Probably another staff member, she said. The problem is that rumors spread fast, and if the students believe she is getting special access because of her situation, it will reflect badly on the school. Special access. Situation. Her chest tightened again. Mr. Hayes spoke. We only admitted her because her father insisted she stay here, and because of the yearly donation, which we needed. Lena felt heat rise in her chest. Her father donated to help the school stay open. He never asked for special treatment. He never wanted favoritism. He wanted fairness. The woman continued. But the story about her father, is it true? Lena felt her heart skip a beat. Story. What story? Mr. Hayes let out a slow breath. We do not have verified information. Someone sent an anonymous report. Until we know the truth, we cannot reveal anything. Anonymous report. Lena's hands trembled. Someone had sent a report about her father. Someone had started something dangerous. The woman asked. Do the teachers know? Some of them, Mr. Hayes said. Not all. We did not want panic. But it seems the students found out anyway. Lena's breath caught. Her teachers knew something. Her classmates knew pieces, and she knew nothing. The woman said, maybe she should be moved to another school. For her own safety and for ours. Lena felt the floor tilt beneath her. Another school? They wanted her gone. They wanted her removed based on lies, rumors, and fear. Mr. Hayes sighed. I have not decided yet, but I need to see proof before I make a final call. If the report is true, it changes everything. Lena pressed a hand over her mouth. She had to know what they were talking about. She needed answers, but she could not walk in there now. Not the way she was shaking. Then a shadow moved behind the door. Someone was coming. Lena scrambled to her feet and quickly walked down the hall, turning the corner before anyone saw her. Her breath was uneven. Her vision blurred slightly. The rumor was not about her. It was about her father. Lena and Ethan met near the back stairwell, an ignored corner of the school. The building buzzed with strange tension, whispers drifting like invisible wind. Ethan quietly opened the door to the abandoned hallway. Teachers are in meetings. No one checks this floor, he whispered. Lena hesitated only a second. If the school was hiding something from her, she would find it. The hallway lights flickered as they reached the door marked record storage. Ethan pulled out a key. How do you have that? Lena asked. My mom found it during night cleaning, he said. Lucky for us. Inside, the narrow room was lined with old filing cabinets and dusty boxes. Ethan pointed to one in the back. That cabinet has the last 5 years of records. If there's anything about you or your dad, it'll be there. Lena opened the second drawer. Her pulse quickened as she found Carter. A thin folder, her name. Her grades and attendance looked normal, until Ethan tapped a paper buried in the back. A printed email with no sender. Subject, concern regarding student Lena Carter. The student should not be admitted without reviewing the father's background. His record is not what he claims. Lena froze. Her father, a decorated general, had nothing to hide. Or so she believed. What record? Ethan whispered. I don't know. Behind it was a note from the principal. Pending verification. Keep watch on student behavior. Do not discuss openly. Her stomach twisted. They saw her as a threat, as a problem, as someone dangerous because of her father. This is wrong, Ethan said. They should have told you. Lena closed the folder, hands trembling. Someone wanted them to doubt my dad. Then something else caught her eye, a sealed, unlabeled envelope hidden on top of the cabinet. Inside was one chilling line. She does not belong here. Remove her before the truth comes out. Ethan stepped closer. This is a threat. From who? Someone inside this school? Lena said. Footsteps echoed, heels clicking fast. Hide, Ethan whispered. They crouched behind stacked boxes just as the door opened. Ms. Hobbs walked in. She went straight to Lena's file, read it, muttered, this should have never gone this far. Then she pulled out her phone. We need to move forward with the plan. The principal will hesitate. If the general comes back before we finish, it'll be too late. Lena felt ice crawl through her chest. Her father. The plan. Too late for what? Ms. Hobbs ended the call and left. The second the door clicked shut, Lena's legs nearly buckled. Ethan helped her stand. They're planning something against my dad, she said. And we have to find out what, Ethan replied. Fear burned inside her, but so did determination. This wasn't gossip anymore. It was a conspiracy, and she was right in the middle of it. By the time school ended, Lena felt exhausted. Her mind spun with every detail she had discovered. The email, the false report, the threat, the conversation in the office, and now Ms. Hobbs confirming a plan against her father. The walk from the building to the pickup lane felt longer than usual. Every student she passed felt like a potential enemy. Every teacher's glance felt suspicious. The school that once felt cold now felt dangerous. Her father's car pulled up. His uniform jacket hung on the back seat, and he rolled down the window with a warm smile. How was your day? Lena hesitated. She wanted to tell him everything, but she did not want him to worry. She did not want to add more stress. To a man who had spent most of his life handling complicated missions, he had enough weight on his shoulders. She climbed in and forced a smile. It was all right. They drove home in silence. The radio played soft music. Trees outside the window blurred into streaks of green. Her father noticed the tension in her shoulders, but he did not push her to talk. At home, she changed into comfortable clothes and sat at the dining table. Her father cooked dinner, humming a tune he learned overseas. It usually made her feel at peace. Tonight, it barely calmed her. During dinner, her father finally asked, Something is bothering you. What is it? Lena poked her food with her fork. Nothing. Just school stuff. He watched her for a moment. He knew she was hiding something, but he also knew she would come to him when she was ready. When dinner ended, Lena went to her room. She sat on her bed, pulled out her backpack, and took out the yellow envelope she got during lunch. "We know why you are really here." She read the words again and again. The message felt more threatening now, more real. Her phone buzzed. A text from Ethan. "Meet at midnight. I found something." Her heart jumped. What did he find? Why wait until midnight? She typed back. "Where?" he replied. "Back stairwell. Same place. Be careful." She stared at the screen. Midnight. In the school. Something about it felt wrong. But something inside her insisted that she had to go. The truth was waiting for her. Principal Harris stood in the middle of the stage with a stack of papers in his hand. The annual school award ceremony had filled the auditorium. Students whispered, parents talked softly, and teachers adjusted their seats. Amina stood near the side of the hall, waiting for her name to be called for the debate club performance. She was calm on the outside, but her heart was tight. She knew this was usually the moment when some students made jokes or whispered nasty comments. Mr. Reed walked in from the side door with 2 other board members. He carried a black folder. The staff and parents already knew him as one of the school's most powerful donors, but students still did not know the truth. They only knew him as Amina's father, and that was enough for them to judge. When Principal Harris tapped the mic, the hall went silent. His eyes found Amina standing backstage. For the first time in weeks, he gave her a genuine nod of respect. "Today is an important day for our school," he said. "Before we begin the student honors, I want to share something meaningful." Students looked around, confused. Nicole squinted suspiciously. Ethan frowned. Even some teachers leaned forward. "This school has survived and grown because of the generosity of one particular family," Harris continued. "Every year they provide funds for scholarships, new equipment, safety upgrades, literacy programs, and community support. And today we want to acknowledge that support openly." He turned toward Mr. Reed. "General Jacob Reed has been our school's largest donor for the past 7 years, and this year he made the biggest contribution yet." The room erupted in shock. Some students gasped, some grabbed their friends. Some teachers widened their eyes. Amina froze. Students twisted in their seats. Nicole whispered loudly, "Wait, what? Amina's dad is a general, like a real general." Ethan stared at the stage, speechless. General Reed stepped forward to the mic. "Thank you, Principal Harris. I support this school because I believe every child deserves safety and dignity. All children, no exceptions." His eyes scanned the crowd. Several students lowered their faces. Then he said something no one expected. "I also know my daughter has been quietly facing things she should never have faced here. And I want to say this. Kindness is free. It costs nothing. But cruelty can cost someone their confidence, their dreams, their future. Choose kindness." After the ceremony ended, students spilled into the hallway with buzzing conversations. Amina tried to slip out quietly, but Nicole and Ethan stepped in front of her near the lockers. Their faces were stiff, confused, embarrassed. Nicole crossed her arms. Her voice wavered. "So, you could have told us." "Told you what?" Amina replied calmly. "That my father works hard, that he donates money, that he wears a uniform. Would that have made you treat me differently?" Nicole hesitated. "I mean, it would have helped us understand." "No," Amina interrupted. "You did not want to understand. You wanted to assume." For the first time, Nicole lowered her eyes. She did not have a comeback. Ethan cleared his throat. "Look, I am sorry. I really mean it. I should not have said any of those things. I should not have judged you." Amina raised her chin. "I did not need your approval then. I do not need it now." They shifted uncomfortably. Students passing by slowed their steps, listening quietly. Amina continued. "You thought I was below you because you thought I was poor. But even if I were poor, even if my dad had no rank, no medals, no money, you still had no right to treat anyone the way you did." Nicole swallowed hard. Her voice cracked. "I was wrong." "Yes, you were," Amina replied. "But I am not here for grudges. I am here to study. I am here to grow. And I will keep doing that with or without your apology." She stepped past them. But unexpectedly, Ethan moved aside respectfully, giving her space. And Nicole whispered something barely audible. "Thank you for giving us a chance to learn." Amina did not respond. She simply walked forward, stronger, lighter, unshaken. Behind her, the two stood silently. They had lost the comfort of ignorance and gained the discomfort of truth. A week later, the school felt different. Not perfect, not magically cured, but different. Some students still whispered when Amina walked by, but the tone had changed. Some whispers held respect, some held curiosity, and some held guilt. Her teachers spoke to her with real warmth now, not the forced smile they used before. Amina sat in the library, working on her science project when Principal Harris walked in. He approached slowly, carrying a folder. "Amina," he said, "I owe you something." She closed her notebook. "What is it?" He sighed. "I did not protect you when I should have. I let assumptions control the environment instead of fairness. I apologize." She nodded respectfully. "Thank you, Principal." He set the folder in front of her. Inside was a certificate with a gold seal. "You won the School Leadership Award, not because of your father, but because of your resilience, your work, and your strength through everything that happened." Amina held the certificate gently. Her heart swelled, not with pride, but with peace. When she stepped outside the building that afternoon, her father was waiting beside the car. He smiled and opened the door for her. "How was today?" he asked. "Better," she said. "Finally better." She looked up at the school building. The place that once made her feel small now looked different. Not bigger, not smaller, just honest. Her father placed a hand on her shoulder. "The world will not always be fair, but you will always stand tall. Because I raised you that way, and because you chose it for yourself." Amina smiled softly. As the car drove away, she watched students leaving the campus. Some looked at her. Some waved. Some simply nodded. She did not need their approval anymore. She had her own. And somewhere deep inside, she knew this was only the beginning. She had faced judgment. She had faced cruelty. She had faced silence. And she had won, not by fighting back with anger, but by standing strong with truth. The road ahead was open now, and she was ready to walk it.